Can't see. It's just they're going live soon.
Yeah, here.
Ooh, not bad.
Should I move it a little? Should I move it some?
I think this is fine. It's just but I can get close to it. Oh, I sound decent. Okay.
Check 1 2 testing.
I think this is fine. But I can get close to it.
All right.
Oh, I sound decent.
Check 1 2 testing. All right. We're gonna get live in a second here, man. I got a special guest in the building. This gonna be like a 8-hour conversation.
Oh, can you do me a favor real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Can you mute the mics for 1 second? I want to ask you something.
Yep.
The girl you guys had on like 2 weeks ago, she was hot.
Yes,
She was like a DJ.
yeah.
God damn.
Yes.
God damn.
Yeah.
I was that whole episode. I was like, ooh, I like that.
Yeah, there's been a couple that have come here. If you look back, it's like okay.
Yeah.
There's been a couple. Let me make sure I didn't catch that. Yeah, you can catch it. All right, we good. I think we can start. Check. Let me test again though. Audio. Testing 1 2 1 2 testing. Testing 1 2 testing.
Hello.
All right, let's get this thing started, man. Yo!
Finally.
Finally.
After like 3 years of telling me I could get on, piece of shit.
Hey, listen, man, we are in for a podcast today. I got John Paul Badjo in the building. Cheers, brother. It's been a long time coming.
It's been a while.
Oh, man.
That should have been like, was it the first guest?
Guest number 1?
The first one, at least.
Listen, if you are not familiar, go. The link is gonna be in the show notes in the description. John Paul Badjo, incredible podcast. We're gonna get to that. I want to go all the way back to the start, man.
I'm gonna call you out. I'm gonna call you out. You said Pierre again.
John Paul.
Pierre's my twin brother.
You're a twin.
Yeah.
Did you come out first or he came out first?
I came out first. However, I guess we're going straight to the African stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we go all the way back.
In my tribe, the first person who comes out is the younger one. So I was raised as a younger one. I've been treated the younger one my entire life. Yeah, the first one comes because the older brother sent you out to see if the world was fine, and then since you didn't come back, it must have been good. So that's when he decided to go out too.
So how does coming back look like?
They just put you back in.
Like in my mind, and this is messed up to say. That's passing.
Mm-hmm. Like, passing?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess even if I died in the world, it wouldn't. He still had to come out.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Is there any? You're from
Togo.
Yeah. And where's Togo in the map for people who are ignorant?
It's between Benin and Ghana. Or Benin, as they say in English, I think. Yeah, Benin.
By the way, have you seen The Woman King?
No.
It's based in Benin.
To. Yeah, no, the Dahomey tribe.
Yeah.
Were they in Benin?
Yeah, it's based in the Dahomey tribe is a tribe right now in Benin, the country Benin.
Yeah.
But it's incredible, man. Like I think you could that could be a book that you write and work on. But we're gonna get to your book.
Oh yeah, we'll get there. They're already inspired. So the tribe specifically, the way I do things in the book isn't, and I didn't even come to talk about the book, but we can talk about the book.
we good to talk about the book.
We're gonna talk about everything. Mm-hmm. But the way I did the things in the tribes in my book, the African high fantasy series, it's not by the country, it's more by the tribes. So that's because these tribes, these country lines were kind of put on us, right? So we're looking at all that type of stuff the Dahomey tribe did, because Togo, Ghana, and I'll call it Benin. Benin is such a weird way to say it.
Yeah, Benin.
Yeah. Togo, Ghana, and Benin. The lines have been shifting so much over forever that it was kind of, you have like the Fon tribe that kind of bleeds into both. You have a lot of tribes kind of bleeding into everything. So for me, Dahomey was kind of more of that's why I asked. That's why I asked about, they're Benin, because I didn't really look at it that way. That was just kind of, all that good stuff. But yeah, I have done a lot of research on a lot of things of that tribe that I've incorporated into my book. So that's just my explanation as to why I was
incredible book that is not out yet. So we're gonna get to it. So in your tribe, the younger brother is considered the one who comes out second. So you told Pierre, get out.
The older brother.
Is considered younger.
No, the older brother. So the first person out, which is me, is the younger one. Yeah. The last person out is the older.
Is you two just the children of your parents? You guys other siblings?
Oh yeah, we got other siblings. So we're the last ones. We're the last of 9. And there's a lot of twin groups in the family. Everybody was raised the same way.
Are you scared you're gonna get twins? Do you want twins?
I want twins.
Because you're married. Twins. You're married.
Yeah, I'm married. I deserve twins. Not only do I deserve twins, I have to be twin boys because I have that African mentality. You want to get into the science of it?
Yeah.
There's been a few studies about the most stressful combination of kids to have, and the most stressful combination of kids to have is 2 girls. Even more when you even more when they're twins. I think one girl is the easiest, and then you have like one boy.
You know what's crazy? My wife, she has nieces or second cousins who are twins, and we call them, I don't know if I can say this, but they are bad. That's another word. As an average, they are bad kids. Like they will paint your walls, scratch up your car, bad.
Do they get beat?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, they're not afraid.
No.
How old are they?
I want to say they're 7s now. They're 7-year-old or 8-year-old now. Yeah, and they're here, so they get beat. Here it's like, everybody CPA. Yeah, that's crazy.
For me, my dad was like, after the age of 7, there's no point in beating your kids anymore because they're already a lost cause. My dad was a hard man. But then after that age...
Talk to me about, is he military or like in the politics?
No, he just grew up poor. Really poor.
In Togo?
Yeah, in Togo. Like poor in Togo. Like so poor in Togo, he was made fun of being poor. Yeah. That's how poor.
By the way, is there anything off limits that we can't talk about?
Mainly the weapon designs for my job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mainly that.
Cool. So family, your dad, like, we still coming up, and he grew up poor.
When I'm talking poor, I'm like in the hearts of an angel type of poor, where his mom didn't have a house. He was actually sold as a slave for another family so that they would pay for his school. And then every time, because he had to go to the river, get the water, bring it back. Whenever he spilled a little bit of water, they'll all beat him.
You know what's crazy about slavery that, and this is something I was just doing a lot more research after watching The Woman King. And I knew this, is that Africans also participate in the slave trade. Like some Africans.
Their entire economy was based off of American slavery.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people don't know that. Yeah. Like I have conversations with African Americans now and friends. They're like, huh? I thought they just came Portuguese
the same thing
and stole us. It's like some Africans, they give them guns and glass and bows, and they say, if I have beef with you, I'm giving you over.
Yeah, that's I was actually surprised a lot of people didn't know this, because I got into this a while ago, and slavery being abolished in the United States destroy the economy in Africa.
Yeah.
Because it was let's say my tribe goes to your tribe, and then let's say we pick off some of your people, sell them to America, they give us guns so we can keep killing you better, getting more slaves, and then selling it back.
Yep.
But then when America was like, we're not doing slaves anymore, their economies collapsed because they had a slave economy. And a lot of them are kind of still coming back from that. So yeah.
I was reading an article in the New Yorker of a lady whose grandfather just got out of the business. This is like one person removed from her, or 2 people, grandfather, and great grandfather. So 2 people removed from her. That's just recent. That's like recent.
That's recent.
Yeah.
And we can. God damn, this is gonna branch out to so many different things. But let's go. Let's go with the flow.
Yeah, let's go with the flow. So your dad, because your dad got money now. Your dad is a little. Well, you were born here.
No.
Oh, you were born in Togo.
Yeah, I was born in Togo.
Which one do you have? Younger siblings after you? Oh, you guys are the last.
No, we're the last ones. So no, everybody's born in Togo.
Togo. Oh, okay.
I could have been born here, but my mom was. She didn't want to be in a new country with like twins by herself. Well, not by herself because there's a lot of other sibling things, but so she was like, she wants to have the kids there. Wait till I'm like 6 months or 9 months or something, and then we came to the U.S. So I was here since I was like 9 months old.
Was it one of those situations like, oh, let's go have a baby in the U.S. so they can have citizenship?
No, it was the opposite, and I wish it was that because I can't run for president now because of that shit. And I tell her that all the time. I could have ran for president. Probably would have won.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, but you never know.
How did your dad dig his way out of poverty?
I'll tell you what he told me because it's really hard to get things out of him. Do
you have a cool relationship with him where you can sit and chat with him? And
now I do, but he's never been like against the cool thing. He was just like a very stressed out man. God damn, you're gonna bring me to tears thinking about it.
No, you could. Well, and is that because like for me, like when I have kids, like I want to have that kind of relationship with my parents, and is that something that you want to change? Because I think our generation.
I need to change that shit.
Yeah, our generation.
But I want to keep a lot of it.
What? Like what?
The fucking go hustle type like figure it out. Let's talk about my parents real quick. So specifically my dad, because my dad is the best thing that ever happened to me. So let's see. My dad, what he told me, the few things he told me was when he was a kid, his parents couldn't. It wasn't even clear if he was with both of his parents at the same time, but they couldn't afford for him and his brother to go to school. Now, mind you, schools might be like $5, right? But they couldn't afford for both of them to go to school because he has an older brother. So they got his older brother to go to school down in Lomé, which is the capital of the country. And so at some point he's like farming and shit. And then he gets a revelation. I got to get the fuck out of here. Like, I got to go to school. Like, I want to be something better. And then everybody's telling him, everybody's like cursing at him. You got to stay here, support the family. You got to be a farmer. You got to do this stuff. He's just like, no, I'm good at math. Let me go do math.
Yeah.
So he does this whole thing because I think Africa's going through this war or something, maybe with Ghana. I'm not sure. But he sneaks one night. He runs away from home. He sneaks down, and then there's this giant river he has to swim across. And it's like all this shit happens to him during this night because war's going on and shit. He's running by himself, and then he gets to like this. I'm gonna butcher it up. And I don't remember everything because he's really vague about a lot of things he was saying. But then he was like, after he gets across this river, he's trying to find a way to go down to Lomé because they're in the north. Also, there's this weird north-south war or rivalry between Togo. While in America, they just kind of see everybody as a bunch of fucking niggers. But, we see the differences. So, and yeah, I said that word. We're going in today.
Yeah,
folks.
we're going in,
folks. Let's go.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, useless. We always find ways to divide ourselves. But so he's going down, and then so he's like, I need to find a way to go to Lomé. So he's going to like all these places, and one guy, I think he's carrying coal down to Lomé, and they're like, if you can hold on to the truck, you'll get there. So my dad's holding on to the truck, and then they're going down, and then he still has the burn marks in his legs and things like that, and like the fiery coal just kind of cinching him and stuff. And he's like, I gotta go there, I gotta go to school, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm not entirely sure what happened at this point because this is after he's done being a slave and stuff, right, or a servant or whatever. And this part I don't want to butcher it, so I'd rather not say it, but eventually he goes there and he's a fucking genius, right? He's just dominating everything he's doing, and everything is just kind of going good for him school wise. So then they're like, oh, this guy's really good in X, Y, and Z, we should support him. I think it was the president or something. We should support him going to get his master's in Mali or something. So it goes to Mali, and he told me that Mali was the first time he's ever been somewhere where he saw niggas that was like competitive with him. Like this is the first time where it's like, oh shit, I'm not the best. And it's funny. I had that experience too when I went to grad school in one specific topic. But
yeah, because I know you in college, you still are a genius.
Well, let's see. I'm kind of a genius, or people are gonna start trying to fight me. But yeah, so he goes there, and then there's this. It was him and
move a little bit to your left.
Oh, my bad.
No, you good.
Yeah, so it's him and one other guy who from Togo who are like kind of doing like really well. And they both come back, and this is the time they're looking for a new. They call it the DG, but I guess that translates to it's the Director General, Directeur General. But I think over here CEO maybe, CEO or something. Of the water irrigation system in the country, and so they give the water. So there's two guys and there's two positions, right? So they're kind of trying to figure out like what they're giving to what, and it's since his last name rhymed with water, it was just O. They get to him, and the other guy's last name rhymed with electricity. So that's because they both were top tier for what they were doing, right? And so it was like Badjo, and then I forgot the other guy's name, but something electricité. So they're like, "Hey, it rhymes. That's great." Yeah. They're both great, regardless. Yeah, let's do that. So it ended up being the great decision because he designed the COSA, which is one of the big irrigation systems in Togo, and then later on through working through the World Bank, he got other degrees in other places in Florida and
he eventually landed here through his job and
so he designed the biggest irrigation system of France, and he got their version of a Nobel Peace Prize for it. So yeah,
your dad. Yeah. Can you say your dad's name?
Oh, Yao Badjo, Yaobadjo.
Shout out to Dad, man.
I didn't know any of this until like
recently.
He doesn't talk about it. I didn't even know he was an engineer until I started going to college. I didn't even know what the fuck an engineer was until I decided to go to college. Well, until he told me how to go to well, he didn't.
Did he tell you got to be an engineer?
Yeah. I was going to be
Was there any pushback from you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What did you want to do? You are a genius.
I wanted to do game design. Well, I didn't know I was a genius. No, I'm not saying I'm a genius.
You can't own it.
I didn't know that I was good at when I put my.
But then the good thing is you're doing both. We're gonna get into it, and you know what I mean. But yeah, like how was that conversation? Where he's like, no, I'm not doing that, or.
But so here's the thing. He's like, he told me, he's like, of all my kids, there are two kids who are very gifted in like the academic stuff. Yeah. It's my second oldest sister and me.
The one everybody was drooling over in high school?
No. That's my fifth sister. Yeah.
I did have a crush on your sister in high school.
Everybody did. I'd be walking down the street. No, walking down the hallway. Hey, JP, I want to fuck your sister. Who are you? Who are you?
Shout out to my brother. Shout out to AK. He's watching right now.
Oh,
I think I don't know if he did. I don't want to speak for him, but a lot of people in high school had a crush on your sister. Like, not the whole school, but because that's kind of weird.
See a lot of people now. She looks like me, but light skinned and tiny. What do you want?
Because you're ugly.
That's not wrong. But yeah,
so how did your dad meet your mom? Was he here or?
No, they were in Africa. So I barely know this. I heard stories from other people, but my mom, she grew up in a kind of a nun house church thing. I'm not even sure. I'm not entirely sure, so I can't even really say because I've asked. But I don't know, because I know she was in the like a nunnery or something like that, and then I'm not even sure how they met. But then because it's a whole kind of village community thing, they're like, he was like, "Oh, I'm interested in this girl," blah 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 blah. And the ex general of Togo.
Oh, this is back in Togo, and then
back in Togo, yeah.
And then eventually your dad gets here, and then your mom gets here, and then
no, they got married there.
They
had my sister there, and then he came back. He came to America, and then she was already pregnant, and then the whole, I think I said it earlier on camera, of the what is it? How she wanted to have the kids in Africa. So she was pregnant, and then he got her pregnant. He went back to America to kind of set the house and everything up.
He would just come back in pumping kids, come back in.
No. Oh, maybe. Wait, we can talk about that shit too. The dynamic I've learned between men and women growing up, it's
different.
Yeah, it's not what Disney says it is.
Nah, especially being married now.
Yeah. It's
How was How was life for you? Like, when did you move here? At what age? I moved here when I was 14.
8 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Young.
Yeah, I came here.
Yeah, have you been back since?
Oh yeah. We normally go every summer. I haven't gone since I started grad school because grad school you just kind of work throughout your entire.
And that's crazy because you moved here when you were 8 months. I moved here when I was 14. So growing back in Cameroon, and my dad was military. It was that he raised us up in like military fashion. And my mom, she was a single mom for a chunk of time when my dad moved here. His story is a bit the reverse of your dad's story, where he was in the military. And there's 2 political parties in Cameroon. You either, if you're in the military, you automatically support the president's party. Yeah. Because, you got to do his dirt. But my dad was not about that. And so he was getting older in age, and he just wasn't supporting any party. And they were like, since you're not supporting the president's party, we don't care that you're not supporting any. You for the other party. So he was like,
no, with us or against us.
Exactly, kind of thing. So he was like, I'm not doing this. What am I even doing here? So he quits and he retires early, really early. To the point where I think he almost didn't get pension or whatever. So he's just chilling, not jobless. And then my uncle, who's already here, is like, hey, like, come visit. And he comes visiting.
Come through.
Long story short, we are here. But how was life like? Because then, like, I'm raised in Cameroon, and all my siblings, we raised tough. You know what I'm saying? Like, you go through you out the mud. For you at 8 months, how was it like that? You have discipline. You have this African. The culture. It might just not from going home every summer. It was
hard. It was hard. But when I say hard, this is me growing a privileged lifestyle, right? I didn't even know the country was in a recession when everything was happening. But I wish, because I guess there's probably more black people now. But growing up in Rockville and stuff, there wasn't a lot of us, right? And I know at some point my siblings in Rockville High School, they were like the majority of the black people in the school. So for me, it was weird to go to school and have all these kids who are kind of free to do what the fuck they want to do, and then come home and have like these parents that are fucking dictators. That was hard as fuck. It's not until I met Herman where I was like, oh, there's somebody else like me. But that was like maybe high school. I don't know, sophomore year of high school, maybe freshman year of high school. That's the first time I met somebody like that I really like talked to like that. That was going through it equally, and. Then I went to UMS and I was like, oh, it's not that my parents were assholes. They were just African. Yeah. But again, the issue with Africans is they don't explain anything. Right. Like, just listen to what I'm saying, X, Y, and Z. You're just, the culture difference. Because now I can look back and be like, oh, I get this. I understand why we're doing this. And my dad explained things to me more than my mom, but still not that much. My mom is more of just kind of do what I say, things like that. But my dad is like, well, you have to do this because X, Y, and Z. If you don't understand, then you're fucking stupid. And then I get that. Honestly, I understand that because he's the best thing that's in
Are they still married, your parents?
Oh yeah. But they just travel a lot now, but like kind of differently.
I see your dad retired.
Oh yeah. Both of my parents are retired. My dad, he's back.
Money good boy every time.
Oh, they're fine. My dad right now, he's in the village, Konfaga, and my mom, she's in Israel right now.
Just chilling.
Yeah, because she wanted to go see the whole Jesus stuff, Catholicism stuff. So that's where they are. So
shout out to everybody watching, man. If you got questions, put it in the chat. I don't know how I'm gonna be able to see it. I got my second phone, so I'm gonna check in a second for questions or just comments. Shout out to AK watching. He said you're a wild dude.
I can get worse. I can get fucking worse. So your dad tells you. By the way, we met in Rockville High School, and I always knew you were smart because math and engineering. People say this. I never thought I was smart until I went to high school. I never knew until I went to college. Yeah.
So
I've never known this.
Because why? Because high school, coming from me, like moving from Cameroon, high school was easy. Because I'm like, we do this in college.
Dude, I'll tell you something. Senior year, this is I think it's senior or junior year. It was the year I was, at some point I was class president, and then kind of the teachers got to know me too and things like that. And then I'll just say senior year just because it'll be easier on the teachers and stuff. But senior year, when I'm bouncing around my classes to different teachers I have and things like that, and I'm just out of order just because I want to. I just want to go to class. I want to hang out, and they just let me. And then at the end of the year, I just go to all the teachers. I'm like, hey, what can I do to bring up my grade? And they just raise my grade. They just raised my grade. And I'm just like, this is weird.
But you weren't failing, I don't think.
Oh, no. I wasn't failing. No.
Yeah, they just put you to A+.
I kept, no, but I did always get a C in French. Although French is my first language.
Yeah, which is weird. I mean, you probably didn't speak it as much as you would have loved to growing up.
No, I did.
Oh, wow.
No. In my house, English was banned. If you speak English in the house, my dad would be like, go outside until you can learn to speak French again. And you just stand there. And you just, until you can speak French again. There's no English in the house.
Dang.
Yeah. So it doesn't make sense that I got to see.
That is crazy. Your dad was tough, man.
Yeah, I remember once, I was maybe 7 or 8 years old. And this is one of my favorite memories. What happens? I draw all these Pokemon pictures, right? I draw like each one. It was my Beedrill picture. My sister, she spills rice on the drawing. And I get sad and I'm just kind of crying behind the couch and shit. My dad walks up to me. He's like, hey, what's wrong? Why are you crying? He's like, I don't want to talk about it. And I was like, I'm sad. I don't want to talk about Dad. I'm just upset. He's like, oh, okay. Well, why don't you just go outside until you feel like telling me what's wrong? And I'm like, what? This isn't helping me. What is this? And I go outside, and he's like, "You don't come back inside until you tell me why you're sad." I'm like, "This is crazy," but yeah, good times.
Was that like his favorite punishment? Go outside. It's my house.
I guess because he was after 7, that he doesn't hit you anymore. But he's just already. What? I guess you're raised so intimidatingly.
Why 7?
You don't even want him yelling at you. I don't know. I don't know why 7.
So, at what age was he like, it's gonna be engineering? Because you're good at gaming, not only gaming but designing games and drawing. Yeah. Very good artist, and you're very creative as well. You got a podcast, JPB podcast. Yeah, go check that out. At what age was he like it's gonna be engineering? Was he just like I've done it, there's money in it, as a stable career, or was when did that conversation happen?
It was after I applied to Full Sail University and got accepted, and he was like, "That's not what you're doing." That's what we had the time.
Is that how you ended up at UMES?
Yeah.
That's exactly. It's kind of like my story, because I wanted to play soccer, and I'm skinny. I was skinnier than this. I'm married now, and then my wife's taking care of me. I'm a little fat, but I had no weight. There was no way I'm making.
You're not fat, bud.
I am fat, man. I get weight. I'm not going to get. But I wanted. Penn State was a school I was gonna go to. Like it was, and I only applied to Penn State. I got in. My dad was like, I don't have money for out of state. You don't have.
I remember that. Yeah. I remember that.
So I went to open on the spot enrollment for UMES like a few weeks before school started, and they just took me in because I was not gonna go to school. And
I see.
Yeah, that was kind of
so it's similar. So for me, I was accepted Full Sail. I was like, I'm gonna go there. It's down in Florida. I was gonna go with Barbie, my now wife, and she was going to another school because she was gonna do like medical stuff over there. We had this whole plan. And my dad was like, "No, fuck you. You're gonna be an engineer." But I was like, "Why didn't you say this earlier? All the applications are closed now." Right. And he's like, "Figure it out, bitch." And I was like, "Okay, fine." So
does he talk like that, by the way?
No. He's much more. He's like a calm, menacing type of.
And it's in French.
Yeah, everything's in French. Yeah. If translating what he says, when I say it in English, it doesn't sound as bad as you say it in French.
Exactly. Getting cussed out in French is probably, for a woman, is probably sexy anyway.
I'm about to make a joke. Let me give me like 30 minutes. I'll get there. Yeah. I'll make some jokes, and YouTube's gonna cancel this entire podcast. But so during this time, I'm like, God damn, I don't know what the fuck is opened, because I wanted to go to school with my girlfriend at the time. And so we're like, okay, what's open?
And we're gonna get into that because you guys are just stuck like glue.
Yeah. No, it's pretty good. I made the right choice early. But shit. So I'm like, okay, what's open that has engineering? Everything was closed by UMES. So we both applied and got in. And it's like, okay, let's do it. I didn't even know what an engineer was. Even until I started my first day, I didn't know what engineering was until the orientation happened. And I was like, oh, this is what I'll be doing. Oh, that's pretty cool. And then it just ended up being good at it. I wouldn't even say I fell in love with it, because I don't believe anybody who falls in love with anything kind of sciencey. Here's what I'll say. They had me do a talk about this at Salisbury University once with a bunch of white girls, which I don't know why I was a speaker, but whatever. One thing I said there was, anybody who's saying they know what they want to do in college is a fucking liar. Because you do something you get good at it, and then you start to like it once you get good at it. And that's how it is for everything.
Right, yeah.
And then you don't fucking know. Like, you just, I'm good at this now. It's the whole self-esteem thing. And it applies for everything you're ever going to do at any stage of your life. You're going to suck dick. You're going to, get a little bitter. Dodge the cum shots and shit. And then you'll be like, oh, this is actually kind of fun.
Yeah, what I say start now, perfect later. Is just you just start and you just get good at it and you like it and you just keep going.
Most people don't even have hobbies. Most people, if they're not working, they don't know what the fuck to do. And I've met so many people like this. I even like she's a waitress and she's just like, and I was talking to her boyfriend, husband thing. I don't know what the fuck they're doing, but he was like, if she's not at work, she doesn't know what to do. It's just Netflix and go out for walks type of shit. There's just nothing. They just kind of exist. And that is most people. Yeah. That is the vast majority of people.
What are your thoughts on that? Would you're married now and you're happily so, but I don't see I want you to be creative at something, like have a hobby.
A part of me slightly envies people like that.
Oh, wow.
That are...
I didn't expect that to be the answer.
Yeah, I slightly envy that mentality of just being okay with everything. Because there's also good studies done on this. And if we want to talk about studies, I read a lot of papers like daily. Even with my wife, she's also a doctor. So even the whole COVID thing, we read every single paper that came out on COVID. So we can go into that. But there are, let's say you can do artistic people and non-artistic people. Although I am very deep into the whole STEM world and all that type of stuff, there is people who artistic people who can't be artistic are suffering. Like in a very hard way. And that's where I fall into. It's very much, if...
By can't, you mean like... You wanna draw and you got like
not even just draw. You want to do something with let's say going to class at a certain time is hard for me. Going to work at a certain time is hard for me. Being told what to do is hard for me. Well, I could just kind of do all these things myself. I can do it very well, but I'm not allowed to express my own thoughts.
Right,
and they are all suffering. And it's something I've never heard of before until I started reading certain things, listening to certain things. And it's a known thing, like between the two categories. People who are artistic, people who are creative, who aren't, I think I should say creative instead of artistic. Creative people who are not allowed to express creativity are suffering in a very bad way. Because the society we're in, the culture, everything is, it tends to be what works, right? We've gotten this far as a species this way, but it sucks. And for people like me, it's very hard for me.
Yeah.
Although I'm probably at the pinnacle of like the things I do for science and things like that. My only reason for doing it is because I understand that this is the best way to survive.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. No, I totally agree because I'm a creative.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
And like, man, it's hard. Like, I want to do and express my creativity. It's like I'm spending 8 hours in somebody's office doing what I'm told to do, and when I get home, it's like family.
And you're tired.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
And then so your wife wants to watch this thing on Netflix where people are dating.
Exactly. How do we get over that? You know what I mean? Like, do we work and amass the income to be, at a level where we can then go be creative? Like, how does it work for you? How are you coping?
How am I coping?
How are you breaking the mold? How are you getting out of it? How are you not suffering?
Well, for me, I'm lucky that I'm good enough at the science to be able to make a lot of money, right? So the money is accumulating, allowing me to do a lot of this stuff. But then once you do things like that, which I don't want my daughter to have to go through, but then it kind of goes through, if you help your kid out too much, they kind of end up being shitty people. So it's that's something we can go into my plan for that too, because there's a whole 5-year plan I have for her. But anyways, so the money for that is still funding the stuff, but you're gonna have to sacrifice things, right? So for me, sleep is a big factor, which isn't good. I'm gonna die early, but
yeah, he just said it so casually.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna die early, but it's for my family. I'm African, so it's all good. But at the same time, you just don't stop. So the way I'm able to balance stuff, so I have the PhD, I have my top secret work at for the Air Force and the Navy. I have my book, and I have my company, and I have my podcast. What I realized is just do something on one of those things all the time. Choose the most urgent thing and then work on it. Let everything else catch on fire. And then when you're done at a good checkpoint here, you go back, put out the fires, choose the next thing. I've been doing that for maybe 7 years now, and it's been working. But my big issue is, again, when you're creative and you don't have something to kind of hold it in, you do too many things at the same time. Because the whole thing about confidence and knowing that if the only factor I need to succeed is work, I'm gonna fucking do it. The problem is, if you understand that, there's nothing you can't do. So you just kind of do everything. So that's a big issue. I'm going. I've been going through for a while, because I just, I get addicted to something. I'm just like, I'm gonna make this work. I'm trying to make money off of this. And
so you go to UMES. You do the 5-year or 4-year program.
5-year.
5-year engineering.
Engineering is typically 5 years, because you do all your classes the first 4 years, and the last year you have to do a big project thing to show your engineering skills for the ABET accreditation.
Is your dad proud of you? Is he happy?
I believe so. I believe at this point he's proud of me. He's never actually said it, but the way he talks to me has been completely different. And he has said that of all the kids he's had, I'm the most like him, which is like the best compliment I have ever received in my life. And I was like, oh, because his middle name is Paul, which is also part of my first name. So he's like, oh, the two Pauls, they're the ones kind of doing things. But yeah, and some of my other siblings, they've told me, it's like, yo, you're the only one who's done everything correctly. And I was like, but I was the problem one growing up. Yeah, my dad talks to me about that. I was like, you were probably the problem child because you saw things others weren't seeing, so X, Y, and Z. But my dad did extend me an olive branch once, because he did once when I was in engineering. He knew how upset I was with it. And although my dad is a hard ass, he has a weird glimpses of, I understand emotions, but I know that this world is really hard, and I've made it so easy for you, you can't understand. So he does acknowledge, because I don't know, once in my life I was depressed once, and this was in high school, and I went through a phase where I was just like, oh man, nobody likes me, blah blah blah, I'm not fitting in, because I became friends with a lot of people who are rude to the teachers, but I couldn't vibe with that because of the way I was raised. I was like, this is kind of weird. But so I knew they were like, I acted too white for my black friends, but I was black, so the white friends weren't all in there. So then for some reason the Asians took me in. So and you saw that, right? All the Asians took me in. So I was just going like, God damn, I don't fit in anywhere. And then once I was just so sad. It was maybe like a month or something. I was just like in a really bad sadness, and this is in high school. And then he was like, hey, you don't smile as much anymore, is anything wrong? Just him realizing that I was upset that somebody's actually like looking at me, flipped immediately. I was just out of it. I was like, oh fuck, I matter to somebody. Somebody's watching me. And there's like a lot of instances like that where he's, I don't know, my dad is, I don't know, I can't praise him enough. And yeah, no, I can't praise him. I like it last month when he was here before he went back to the village. I was like, how did you do all this? Because now I have like a real job, I have a family, I have all this type of shit.
Yeah, that's tough.
And he's like, how the fuck did you do this? Like, in me thinking back of what he was doing, going to other countries, because he was outside the country maybe 50% of the time, working with people he hated him, and then all this type of stuff. Because he was moving up the ranks and as an African, and racism, all this type of shit. And I was like, how did you do it? He's like, hey man, life sucks. Yeah, you gotta, life fucking sucks for everybody. Everybody's miserable. No, everybody's working, everybody's miserable, they're doing something they don't want to do, but eat shit, bitch. Like, we're all in this. Like, start complaining, fucking pussy. That's not what you said. That's what that's how I'm saying it.
So college or high school rather, you meet your wife now, the love of your life. I've been together. Have you ever dated anybody?
I've never dated anybody. I never kissed anybody else. I never got my dick sucked by anybody. Hand job, sex, nothing. No, not even anal.
What?
What?
Let me process that first. How did you meet her? How did you meet your wife?
So, God damn, I don't even know. I'm trying to see how much I would say. So let me say that there was somebody. So in high school, there was actually I'm not gonna say all that because then people are like, oh, you're slicing yourself up. Essentially, I got into art camp, right, and then because we needed to do our hours to graduate, right, for whatever they're called, social service hours or whatever. And so I'd go to an art camp, and I'm one of the counselors there. Well, I signed up to be one of the counselors. So what ended up happening? So I signed up, but then the coordinator was like, "Oh, we accepted you, but somebody else had applied before you, so we have to take her." And I'm like, "Oh man, who's this bitch?" So they make me work in the back, kind of scraping the clay off of the machinery and shit. So I'm scraping the clay. I got clay on me. I'm shirtless and shit, doing all the. Well, I have a beater on, right? And then she likes seeing my arms, so she'd come back and talk to me from time to time. She'd be like, "Hey, what's up?" I'm like, you took my spot, bitch. Yeah. I'm just struggling over here. And so I'm doing that, but then I noticed she got some big ass titties too, right? So I was like, oh man, this girl got some big titties. She like my arms too. So, it's kind of happened. And so what happened was that was the first summer my parents ever left the country. So it's just me and my siblings at the house. This is the first time in my life I can go out and experience it. So I got I had John and Ryan coming to my place, Jima, Lauren, Kathy, coming to my house every day, taking me out, just showing me like, yeah, this is the mall. I was like, this is my first time out in mall with friends. Because my parents are usually stay home and study. So after that whole summer goes by, I kind of learn all these people. I'm like, what that did for my confidence, actually, I've never really reflected on it, but what that did for my confidence the following year, my senior year of high school, I felt like I was like fucking God. Like I was like, oh fuck. I finally understood like the social fabric of everything. Yeah. That's a good way to put it. I finally understood the social fabric of everything. So I was just on my shit the next year. Everybody was like, oh damn, you changed, bro. Did your voice get deeper? And also puberty hit me too. So my voice got deeper, I got muscles, all that type of shit. And I'm just like, what I said before about how I'm going to all my teachers' classes and shit like that, and they're just like, "Oh, what do you want to do?" I was like, "Oh, I'll do what I was crazy." Even women who hated me, like, were starting like flirting with me and shit. And then so I go into this class. It's because I wasn't gonna go to prom. No, I wasn't gonna go to homecoming, and this is October. So the semester starts in September. Homecoming is in October. So I'm just like, I talked to my boy John, and he's just like, "Hey, you gonna go to homecoming this year?" I was like, "Fuck yeah, let's fucking go, let's do this shit." Because I was all like, I know how to interact with everybody now. So I'm talking to him. We're trying to figure out, who we're gonna take, and then I signed up for the newspaper class, and that's where I get to talk to Barbara a lot, like because she's in the newspaper class too. So we're talking all the type of shit, everything's cool. But then I transfer out the class to join the I think the yearbook crew or something. I don't remember. But so I'm talking to John, and so John ends up using his prom ticket money on a skateboard. I'm like, what the fuck? What are you doing? So there was I'm not gonna say this part on camera, but eventually I knew somebody that was interested in going with me, but I didn't, want to go with her that much. And so, but her friend was Barbie, and Barbie has some big ass titties. So one day we're both in the library, and I'm talking to her, and I'm just like, "Hey, you go to prom with me?" And she's like, "Not prom, homecoming with me." Yeah. And then what is it? And she's like, "Yes." Like, all right, give me a hug, bitch. Because here's what happened. Well, let me even backtrack more. Back then, there was a certain thing I didn't like about a lot of the girls that were there, because there was a few girlfriends I could have had along the way, but there's something I didn't like about them that I was like, it's not going to work. It's not until I grew up that I realized I didn't like the culture, right? And we can get into that more.
Culture of like African American, white, or
the American culture. Something that just didn't vibe with me
so
throughout my entire life.
Who's culture?
Yeah, somebody who's the foreign culture type of thing. And then I did see that in her because she was new. She was straight from Peru. She was, she had that culture, that very, nice culture. And so it's when I was like, oh, it should be a candidate, because I didn't want a girlfriend. again, in my mind, my fucking autistic mind, I was like, I can't have a girlfriend because I don't have money like that, and I can't really go on dates and things like that. I'll be a fucking loser. So so that's one of the reasons. All of that is part of the equation of why I had said no before. But she was very the culture I really vibed with, as most South Americans are, right? But so me talking to her, so I was like, oh, let's go to prom. No, not prom, homecoming. Yeah. And then so we go to homecoming, and she looked hot. God damn, she looked really hot. She looked like a different person. I remember walking in there, people were like, who the fuck is with JP? Who is that girl? Because she's only been in school for like maybe 6 months or some shit, like the semester before. And people didn't even really know who she was. And she was so innocent.
As a new person, she probably was, like, not really out. Like lunchtime, she's probably
studying fucking ponytail. Yeah. And and then like her titties were big and shit like that. And then some of my friends were because the titties come back, right? Comes back. It's more into the story. So one time I'm on I think avyMU when it was still like
Uvo or Skype or avyMU.
I think it was avyMU. I think it was the AOL Messenger. Yeah. And I'm talking to one of my friends. I'm talking to Nick Darrell and David Flores. And then so I'm talking to both of them. And then I forgot, one of them was like, oh yeah, she looked like a fucking porn star because the titties were fucking huge. And she looked great too. She looked like really good. And I remember David, who was like, you got to ask her out this Friday because you got to do it within the week because you have to like 7 days later. Some weird girl was like, oh, I got to do it. I got to pull the trigger. And then the following Friday, I tell my mom I have this thing to do for school. And then she drops me off at school. And then I walked to the Safeway where she worked, and then it started raining. Kind of like a nice little misty rain. And then I pick her up, and then we walk through the woods and I ask her out. And then,
Don't tell me I had sex in the woods.
No. We had sex in a lot of places. We normally have sex in like cars and stuff. But then there was this one time where my friend's dad died, so we were supposed to take his car somewhere. No. I'm saying this as the example, as this is the one place we have not had sex in a car because it was going to be kind of rude. Okay. Yeah.
I was about to say, don't tell me I had sex at no funeral, man.
I mean, why not?
He's all somber. You have to have your sex.
Yeah, you got to bring yourself up, bring up the energy, get that blood flowing, get everything going, get the people going.
So, with Barbie, like, I mean, you've always known she was gonna be a wife.
I didn't go into the relationship thinking that she wasn't gonna be married, or else why would I waste my time, right? Because
of course you felt the same way. Yeah, because y'all always vibed out and really loved or liked each other since like high school.
Yeah.
And you're a crazy dude, man.
Yeah, I'm crazy. And she told us
we can get into all the crazy stories that you've done.
I've done some crazy things.
People can go on your Facebook or just listen to your podcast and hear some What is your craziest thing that you've done for Barbie? I can say my craziest thing, because it's only one that I remember, is we in college. College is bigger than high school.
Yeah.
And this dude,
especially the earlier years.
This dude comes, I think it was in her class, dressed as the thing, what is it called where he has the man horse?
Oh yeah, the man horse.
Man horse. He got a blow up man horse. I think you had chocolate and stuff.
Yeah, I was at everybody likes chocolate.
In her class. Do you ever consider she might be embarrassed?
No, girls like that shit. Like, oh, how dare you? Don't do that. Oh, you're embarrassing me.
And then she goes back.
And then next thing you know. Shit. Just kidding, folks. I'm just kidding.
What's the craziest thing you've done for Barbara?
The craziest thing I've done, I don't want to say is too crazy. It's probably the proposal. That was the craziest thing I ever done.
What did you do? I don't remember.
I botched that shit up, but she didn't know, so it was good. So it still ended up well. I got the newspaper of Delaware there. I had all her friends, all her family. Everybody essentially knew up till elementary school to now. That could have gone up there. It's a long, like 10, 15, 20 minute long video, but it's this whole thing where she's walking around this place. There's this drone guy. We shoot a bunch of like flowers and stuff. I have an entire band kind of playing in the back. All of her close friends are dressed in like the supervillain characters. I have one of her best friends dressed as like Voldemort. Like it was a whole ordeal, but it was also the worst day of my life because everything went wrong that I had planned. It was I got lucky that people had my back, like Mike had my back, Chris had my back.
How much you spent a lot of money?
Yes, I spent a lot of money, and I couldn't even use like half of the stuff, things. Yeah, because it was just
that's the thing about weddings, proposals. Like, hope for the best, plan for the worst. That's what I tell people now.
Yeah, and thinking back, God, I still wake up like in the middle of the night sweating about this. Like it's the worst. It was the worst.
But she appreciated it, and of course she said yes, which was the most important thing.
Yeah, it still looks amazing, like everything. But one, I don't have the stage, which is when I had the news team had to go. I'm crazy thankful the speakers were. it was Chris had to. I don't know how he found the chords that were needed, but he did this without me asking him to do it, and went out and found it because I didn't even know it was a problem. And if he wasn't there, it would have been. I
want to get into kids because I've spoken to you I think when I was on your podcast about your philosophy of how you raise your kids and your trajectory for your kids and family and things like that, because it's different. It's different.
It's different. But I got lucky.
You mentioned earlier about a 5-year plan for your daughter, and you want a lot of kids. Let's even start there. Like, this is just family. We're going to get to your creative side and podcasts and things, but this is just family,
Yeah.
Why do you want, was it 7 kids?
Originally, I wanted like 9, but then I was like, okay, we probably agreed on like 5, things like that. I just like a big family. It's good. Kids are good. People are good. Also, I'm African. Like, the fuck, we like kids. Like we like kids. And growing up with so many siblings was good for me. All of my siblings have taught me something, right? So my second oldest brother, he taught me about, let's say, DC Comics and how to do computer stuff. My first oldest taught me that. My second oldest taught me how to draw. He taught me about anime, and he taught me about working out and shit. And then you go down the line, everybody just kind of put something into me that kind of let me be better. Like be who I am. And you have people who have your back. Like it's a good thing. Like
siblings are good. But I got 6. I mean, there's 6 of us. I got 5. So growing up in a huge family is good because everybody, it's fun. It's there's days where y'all fight. There's days where and it also like now as adults we help each other out a lot financially. Like especially as Africans, this is something always happening back home. And so
and you feel safe.
Yeah, exactly.
You feel safe.
Man? So we split costs of like big projects, home family projects, and you always have somebody to run to. But talk to me about this 5-year plan. I don't know if you can share.
No, I'll share it. But one thing I want to say before that is, I don't think the human species, and I think it's pretty evident, we're not designed to just raise kids with 2 people. Normally, you're supposed to have you, your parents, your siblings, all holding the baby. So the baby's just, because people are like, oh, it's so hard raising a baby and things like that. Well, the babies need a lot of attention. But if you have your family there, everyone wants to hold the baby.
Right.
So it's split between like 7 fucking people. You fucking retard. Like, don't move away from home. Don't move away from home, people. It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard, but we're still here, meaning before there was something that made things work. You have a fucking family that could watch the baby. Oh, my baby's weak. Like, people are like, oh, you have a kid now, you're not going to go to sleep. I sleep fucking well because I'm not a fucking retarded piece of shit. My family's here. The baby wakes up. Hey, mom, you want to hold the baby? My sister, you want to hold the baby? My dad's not really, but I have a bunch of people around.
That's like, nah, I got stuff to do.
Yeah, you take shifts. Like maybe one day a week, you have somebody. Let's say if it's me and the baby's having trouble, maybe one day a week I have to, tolerate the baby's bad sleeping habits, which has never really happened because she's been sleeping throughout the entire night since she was 1 month. But that's just because we got lucky. But we have so many people who pay. People say daycare is expensive. Well, daycare is expensive because you don't have your parents here. Your parents want to watch the baby. You don't want to pay for daycare. Make it figure something out. But yeah, sorry if I'm like kind of.
No, you're good.
It's just so stupid to me. I don't get it.
And daycare is expensive.
It's expensive. It's like $1,000 to $2,000 a month, as opposed to you just live closer to your parents and they just watch your kid for you. It doesn't make any sense. So either way, I don't think we're designed to raise kids this way, just a 2-parent home with 1 kid. I think you need your family, because you still have to go out to work. You still have to do all these things. And your parents have a lot more time, a lot more wisdom, things like that. And you're tired and things like it. It wasn't supposed to be like this. But anyways, the 2-year plan, the 5-year plan, more like the 10-year plan.
Is that 10 year from now, or like college, or?
So it's more of maybe starting from 5 to 10, or at least 5 to 10, where the way I want it is I want her to have 2 hobbies. Well, I want her to have a hobby, whatever she chooses, and then I want her to fall back on the science. So 2 things. And there's a third thing, but we'll get into, and the third thing is I want her to get into jiu-jitsu. Why all these things? Let's go about the jiu-jitsu. There's things that you do that automatically discipline you to make sure you're not a piece of shit. All right. And one is playing like the piano or violin is one. It just the patience you need, the practice, the process of doing it changes your thinking. The other one is a martial arts.
Yeah.
Right. So the thing with martial arts is that specifically jiu-jitsu, especially if you're a girl, because you're smaller, you can't really have the same power as some of the people you'll be fighting against. But one, you get used to getting your ass kicked all the time. That humbles you. 2, you're not afraid of somebody kicking your ass, because in a normal setting, because you know how to defend yourself, which is where a lot of bullying comes from. It's just a lot of people who are just kind of afraid. They don't know, they kind of show a certain front because they know that they can't back it up. So it's kind of a protective thing they do. And just the whole culture of, you have your master, or you're used to seeing yourself go up from being a white belt all the way up to whatever belt they have. And that's kind of actually where all self-esteem comes from, right? You see yourself getting better at something, and then you get good at it, and then you start to like it. To circle back to what we talked about for college, that alone is probably the core of what you need to do. You need those 3 factors of getting used to getting your ass kicked, knowing you could defend yourself, and seeing yourself get good at something you normally sucked at. That in and of itself just disciplines you entirely.
What if she grows up, unlike you and your dad, which was a different culture of, raising kids, and she's just like, screw all this. I want to do what I want to do, which is, I don't know, just
that goes to the
sit and play Fortnite, Twitch, and stream it all day, which is this generation.
That's fine. She's gonna have to do that. There's no negotiable. You have to do this because you're a kid, and at the same time, you got to understand kids are fucking stupid, right? They don't know anything. They want to do things because nobody wants to do hard things, but it turns out people who don't do hard things tend to be shitty people. I'm sorry, I'm speaking like absolutes, but that is something we've seen. You have to do hard things to understand what it takes to do stuff and understand the struggles other people are going through and things like that. So she has to do that no matter what. Now, for what you're talking about, that's what I talked about. One of the third pillars is the hobby thing. I don't care what the hobby is. She wants to do it, I'll support it, as long as it's not OnlyFans. Right? So I'll support that.
What if she just selling feet? Sorry, I'm kidding.
No.
I'm kidding.
But so whatever she wants to do. So let's say she wants to be a streamer, because Barbie streams. She's a streamer.
Dang, Barbie streams?
Yeah, she's a streamer.
Oh, wow, I didn't know.
Yeah, she barely does it, but every time she does it, she gets like 5 people to follow her. She does for like 2 hours. She gets 5 people on her stuff.
What does she stream?
Fortnite.
Oh, no, wow.
Yeah,
you got her into games.
I don't like Fortnite.
But you got her into games.
No, Barbie's been into them. She's always been. Maybe I've kept it around pretty deeply in what we do, because I don't like to play video games. If I'm playing a video game with a story, I don't like to start it unless she's there to watch me start, so she at least knows what's happening, because I like her watching me do stuff. But I've definitely kept it alive. But she had it in her, because there's some games she likes that I don't. You
want to know why I don't game?
It's a waste of time.
Nah, because I suck at gaming, and when I lose, I get mad. And it's ugly.
Yeah,
so I just stay away from games.
No. I don't know how mad you get, but there's a game I play called Overwatch. I play that game religiously. It is also the most toxic thing in my life, where it's just like you're losing is because some motherfucker's not healing you, or some person's too afraid to push into the fight, or it gets so toxic so quick. It's almost impossible to play this game if you're not playing with people that you know in real life. It's crazy. It's like, but I still play because I don't know. I fucking love it.
Yeah. So that's the third pillar. She got to do a hobby.
She has to do a hobby. So let's say it's gaming. I will buy her best computer. I will do the research. I'll dump all the money that needs to be dumped into this. Because why? Generally, if you focus on the arts, which is what hobbies tend to be, you don't make money off of it.
Chris said, "Do I see hair on JP's chest?"
Wait, which Chris?
Tony.
Oh shit! Well, maybe you do. Some pubic hair I just put on there right before we started.
And I keep zooming in.
Get in there, boy.
So gaming, if it's gaming, whatever hobby.
So the thing about hobbies, they tend to just be arts, right? Kind of what we talked about earlier. You tend to not make money off of it unless you're part of like the top 5% who's able to make money off of it. If you're part of that group, you make a fuck ton of money off of it.
Right, yeah.
So let's start that early, because I also want her to be out of public school as soon as possible so she can start learning shit. So I want her to kind of put all the.
You're for public school.
I'm not for any school. This is talking for somebody who's been in school as well. I am not for school. Unless
I'm learning stuff.
Oh no! I think the current education system we have, the university system, I think it needs to be gone.
Yeah.
I think it needs. I don't think anybody should be going to college unless you're doing a science. Other than that, just
like a lawyer. Or...
Yeah, like you're doing a lawyer. You're doing even social sciences is fine. Even writing, I would also say writing, because there's so much history in writing and the things like that. Other than that, you can just start doing the things you want to do.
Facts,
you can either just start doing it, or you can just do an apprenticeship and just kind of learn it. But that's also the same thing as doing it, right? Or trade school or something like that.
Yeah.
But even though I don't understand why everything isn't a trade school. You can go to a trade school for engineering if somebody organizes it well enough.
Yeah.
So I don't understand what we're doing in it, and I don't. Maybe later on we get into politics, but the entire student loan thing is the cause of all these fucking issues, and it's. Why is college so expensive, right? The college is so expensive because the government gives you your loans. So they'll give you whatever you need. And the universities know this. So because they know that no matter what the price is, you're going to get the money, they can just elevate everything they want to do. Yeah. And it's not even that statistically, the more expensive school is, the higher the graduation rate is. It's still the same, meaning that these higher prices aren't for anything. You look into what all the money is going towards. It's not for the sciences, it's not for better classes, it's for equity programs. And it's been published, I think, a few months ago. Everything's going to equity programs, although it's not helping anybody. But they know that no matter what the price is, you're going to get the money to pay it. So I am for student loan forgiveness in certain ways, in large ways, because it's a mistake that although some people had to pay through it and kind of struggle through it, I'm not for keeping a bad system just because people are going to be jealous, right? But we got to stop. But I'm for that only if they stop entirely giving out student loans. Yeah. It's gotten ridiculous, because then the universities aren't going to be getting the money that they know they can get. So what happens? They're going to bring the prices down. It's going to go back to being $1,000 a semester like it's supposed to be, or some shit like that. So yeah, we can go into the numbers for that too, but there's a good amount of things that.
Yeah. So is it just 3 pillars, or is this a 4th?
The third, no. So that's not even the third pillar. So that's just the second pillar. Me doing whatever she wants to do. And I want her, if I can get her out of high school at 15, and then I just push her to do that until she's 18. 3 years is a lot of time to really get a good base on, even start generating money off of it. The third one is a science. So I'm an engineer. Barbie's she's a bioengineer now, and
I loaded with money, man.
No. We have too many hobbies. So
I should charge you to come this podcast. Hey, man, it's $10,000 an episode.
Sir, please. Honestly, I just like talking to you so much. I'd pay you to get on here.
Oh man, I love you too, man. He came in here and kissed me, Barbara.
Oh, is she watching?
Yeah.
Hey, Bobby.
I think she is. Yes, she is. She's watching. There's a couple people watching. I don't know who's watching this, but leave a comment so I know who's watching. Appreciate you.
I'm
guys
trying not to
checking
be
in.
too wild because this is live.
Nah, be yourself, man. Be yourself. You want some drink? You want?
No, I mean this water is fine. this water is fine. I'm not like you.
So it's like, throw me under the bus. So, baby, 4-year plan. Because one thing that you said, which opened my eyes a lot, because eventually I'm gonna have a kid. It was like just how you want to set them up for success financially, like
you have to,
like even in the market and stuff like that, man. That's something a lot of us don't know.
I was talking to Barbie about that because one thing Barbie says a lot is she didn't ask to be born, and again, being alive is tragic. That's something I came to the conclusion with maybe 2 months ago. It's like being alive is not a good thing. It's hard. It's hard. You're just struggling, like because if you don't struggle, you're a shitty person. But then if you do struggle, you're struggling. Mm-hmm. So you're just not meant to be happy. Mm-hmm. And imagine you were born 50 years ago. It's even worse. And we're forcing her into this world for what? Because of our selfish need to fucking reproduce. Mm-hmm. So we need to set her up. And let me go back and kind of circle back to this because that kind of leads to something. Well, the third pillar is a science. I teach her engineering or Barbie teaches her something. I just need her to be good at something that she can fall back and always make money off of in case everything goes to shit. Now, one of my fears of doing this is I'm afraid introducing her to the life of controlling your own life, which should be a good thing, might be bad. As in, let's say she does all this stuff and then it fails. And then she's stuck in a position like me where she has to work for somebody now. Mm-hmm. Well, she knows that she is better than everybody. Mm-hmm. That's a hard thing. Yeah. That's a very hard thing. And I'm not saying better than everybody because I think I'm better than everybody. But like, you're smarter than your boss is. You're just like, people are just kind of weird, all that type of shit. And yeah, but that's not an excuse not to do it. So it's still something I'm trying to figure out because I figured out parenting.
Yeah,
but
and this is a question that this is a staple question that we always ask any of our guests here. What is one thing that you struggle with, and how did you overcome it? How did you get over it?
Personally?
In life, personally, yeah.
One thing that I struggled with that I got over.
Well, it could be like somebody, so you can speak to the engineer, somebody who's in engineering school right now, or who will listen to this and wants to go into engineering school, or just a parent.
Oh, you mean like school? Okay, I thought you meant like person.
Anything. It can be anything.
Yeah. I struggle with so many things. I still struggle with a lot of things. Engineering, you want to go through engineering, get some friends and study together. That's it. That's all you need. Some of the best stories I've had was once we were studying computational methods. This was the hardest semester where I think half the entire engineering class dropped out. And those of us who stayed, we had to take all the classes this semester because they weren't offered until the following year. And then the final exam day, it was me, Ahmed, Jamar, Chris, and maybe 2 other people. We had no idea what was happening with this class, but we had the final. That night, we stayed up the entire night. Everybody learned 1 chapter. Just 1, and then we all taught it to each other, and then we all passed. That was one of the, if there's a definition for Hail Mary, that was the greatest Hail Mary I've ever done. But so there's that. But for me, it's something I struggle with. I don't know.
That's something, and you overcome it by being creative. Learning the chapter, teaching to everybody else.
But I would say I don't know how to describe it, but. I would say maybe my anger. My anger is one of my demons because I don't feel things like
a normal person would.
Like a normal person would. Let's say with his happiness or like I get excited, but like things just kind of brush off of me. But when I feel like I'm being not even just like slighted or something, because I'm like, okay, you're just an asshole, but it's more of when I don't feel like I'm doing something, when I feel like I'm not being the best of something I could be, I get angry at myself towards it, if that makes sense. And then It's a weird thing I need to explore because I do know that about. But the thing is, so the hard thing about that is knowing that much about yourself, and then you get into certain situations where you don't even know if you're allowed to be mad anymore, right? So let's say something happens, like, oh, I don't know if I should be mad because I don't know if that's like this is my flaw or if this is a scenario that actually allows me to be mad, or am I just being a bitch, right? Type of thing. And then looking back. And, you know, other people I'll talk to, I was right to be mad, but I just kind of second guessed myself. I was like, is this emotion accurate for what's happening right now? Or am I just, you know, am I just acting a certain way?
I feel like I can sympathize, so I relate a little bit. Like, for me, I have delayed reaction with my emotions.
Yeah.
Like we could be in a social setting and, you know, everybody's cracking jokes. And at that moment, I'm just in my shell. And then later on, I'm at home like, ha, 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 that was so funny. Nobody's here, like, to experience me.
Oh, you're laughing at it? Just in the shower. God damn, that was funny.
Exactly. And then most times, like, I want to be, you know, and then that's when everybody's like, oh, we're tired. It's time, you know. And so I show emotions sometimes very weird timing. Yeah.
No, I see. And it's I don't know if it's probably, I don't know, maybe the way I was brought up, I don't know, maybe I'm just weird. I don't know. But then again, who the fuck doesn't have problems,
exactly.
right? There isn't a fucking person that exists.
That's one thing I'm learning in this conversation. Is like, man, everybody got problems.
Everybody's got problems.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to.
Again, everything sucks. Life is a tragic thing.
Life is hard, man.
Everybody's poor. Or you're working a job you don't like, or I don't know. Even if you're rich.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I want to get into gaming and gaming design because I don't know if we've had this conversation before. How does one get into it? Because building a computer now, like back in the day, oh man, you build a computer now. It's like you just order the parts, go on YouTube and learn. But gaming, it seems like it's just a hard barrier to break to get into.
Well, for game design, so growing up now, what I wanted to do wasn't actually gaming design. Looking back, I was going after the wrong thing because. One, gaming design is programming, and gaming design would have been a bad idea because game design is the only computer science degree you can have and still be broke, right? It's you most likely still be broke if you do game design. But what I wanted to do was, because I used to play a lot of video games, and then it's time until I played Final Fantasy II, where I played. That was my first game I played, where I was like, oh shit, there's an actual story behind all this stuff. Like it's actual. Because I used to play Mario, you know, Rayman, Spyro, and the story was like, oh, go defeat the bad guy. But then Final Fantasy II like really had a deep story. I was like, oh damn, this is fucking different. And then Kingdom Hearts came out. When Kingdom Hearts came out, that changed me as a person. Like it's one of the most influential things that ever happened to me. This the character of Sora, just how deep the music it was fucking crazy. So it was me and Anton. We started. We have a podcast on this about the comic industry. We both started, and then it was FCP. Mine was VCP. So I started something called Phoenix Orb. That was my comic, kind of based off of Fire Emblem a little bit. And so, you know, I kind of build it up with the mindset that this is going to be a video game one day and things like that. So I go deep into all this stuff, like really, really into it, and super inspired by Kingdom Hearts. And then, you know, my dad's like, fuck you, you're going to be an engineer. And then I became an engineer. But I didn't want to lose that stuff, right? Also, my drawing skill. So I didn't want to waste some of the talents I had because I've developed, you know, how to draw. So in my book, every character is drawn, every creature is drawn, big scenes are drawn. There's a lot of art in there. So the book I have now is evolved from something I started over 20 years ago. So yeah, so that was the whole game. So what I wanted to do was be a writer, essentially. In short, I wanted to be a game writer for some really deep shit like this. But you know, became an engineer instead, and turns out it was a better path because you can't.
Because you're loaded.
It's not the good path.
Yeah. And everything is coming full circle because from the book you can still create a game from it.
Yeah. If you go into how autistically deep I get into like the power mechanics in the book, it could be its own D&D world, D&D game. I've had some friends.
D&D meaning
Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, that's for the dumb people. I think I've heard that before. D&D.
Yeah, it's just pretty a pretty big thing.
By the way, how is Elden Ring? Is it all that you wanted it to be?
Boy, don't get me started.
Have you beaten it yet?
I haven't beaten it because I'm not stopping playing it. So I got really into the PvP of it all because when I finally got my build,
person versus person?
Yeah, player versus player, human versus.
See, I be knowing, man.
Kind of. Well, do you have a gaming PC or do you do console?
I don't play games.
Oh, you piece of shit.
I don't.
But if you were to get a,
if I were to play, if I were to like, it would be like FIFA, PS5.
Fucking dork.
My brother games. He has.
Does he do console or PC?
Console.
Oh, you pieces of shit.
Yeah.
I got off of that when I became smart.
Did you build your own computer?
No, I don't have time for that.
Why not? It's Marquise Brownie. He just put out a video. I think he built his. I mean, the video is edited, but
if you want to build a computer, really, it's just a graphics card.
Mm-hmm.
Just get the RTX 4000 that just came out. Everything else just strapped to it. That's what it is. It's not hard. Yeah, just
so
processor.
Why don't you build yours?
One, I don't do desktops. Everything is laptop for me, and that's harder to build because pieces are smaller. It's just weird, and I don't want to.
So you just get the strongest,
That's really all you need.
You just get the best laptop that can handle the resolution and things.
No, you just need the strongest graphics card because because they make things so that people can play it, right? They're not going to fucking do something that kind of blows your asshole out. So it's because they want people to be able to buy it and play. So now the problem with a lot of things is they get out of technology moves so fast that newer, like, you probably have like a 5-year window before something is a new game comes out that's too powerful for your thing to play, so you want to future proof it. But other than that, you're fine.
What is the book called?
The book is called Chronicles of Confaga and Roots of a Very Old Tree. And I might still shift it around.
I love that name, Roots of a Very Old Tree.
Yeah, Barbie helped me think of it.
Whoa, I want to read this.
Yeah, it's nice. And the whole Chronicles parts of it came from all the video games I used to play, where just adding Chronicles to something gives that fantasy feel to it. And for the Roots of a Very Old Tree, I think Barbie was like, you have to add very old. I was like, why? She's like, it's much more deep, homely type of innocent feeling. I was like, that's true.
Old tree. Like,
very old tree. Whoa, that's old.
When is the book coming out?
So there's a few publishers that I'm in the second phase in right now, trying to see if they're going to take me. Most likely they're going to say no.
Are you done editing?
Yeah, everything's
like
done.
You're not adding anything. You're not taking anything.
I might change something to the map. Other than that, no, everything's done.
Is it one book or? I mean, it's a chronicle. So is it? What are we getting first? One book or two?
Just one. The next book. Well, originally I thought it was going to be like 5 books, but becoming a better writer and knowing how to write fantasy stories, you can't have that many parallel storylines happening at the same time. So
if you might end up being like a third. Have you written a second or third yet?
Halfway second.
Okay.
Just because I have to see certain things because there's a lot of mechanics. There's a lot of the powers are like very crazy.
And you got the editor of Lord of the Rings to edit the book?
No. So the editor was the guy who did what do you call that?
Pirates?
No, Indiana Jones. Indiana
Jones.
Jones. Yeah. So he was the one who edited it for me. And he loved the book. He thought it was great. So there's things I'm talking to him about people who publish books. But I'm trying to do it this way first. But
so when like ballpark, when do you think it's gonna come out?
Statistically, March would be the best time to release a book, right?
Okay.
That's when most people kind of buy books and things. That's what I'm trying to do. I haven't made the advertisement plan. I was actually going to contact you for that and kind of see what I can do because I'm gonna dump a lot of money into this, like a stupid amount of money into this. If I can't do it next March, if I don't have my plan and the money in time for next March, probably the March next year after that. By then, I should have the second book done also, and we'll see how that goes. But I've rewritten this book at least 7 times.
Yeah.
I've been working on it.
We're waiting for this book. I'm ready for this book, man.
No, it's good. It's
what is a fantasy that you've read lately, like of Blood and Bone, or?
I read that book and I hated it because I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. Hate is a strong word. Ooh, that book is the Avatar if Katara was the Avatar and everybody was African. Exactly the story. That's one. I didn't read the second one that came out of it, but after I read that, I was like, this is literally the Avatar. Yeah, like literally. Even the white line they kind of go around the land with, and the relationship between Katara and I forgot the other guy's name, Kuzco, whatever. And it's I kind of read it to kind of see what the differences would be. I'd read other African fantasy books like that, but the last book I read that I really liked was it was Mistborn: The Last Empire. Mistborn is a series. This was the first one of the trilogy, and they had a really unique magic system about like magnets and like different metals and things like that, how they interact when you kind of consume them. So that one was a biggie.
I was trying to find the name of a Nigerian fantasy that Disney picked up that is coming on Disney Plus. I can't remember the name, but it's by a Nigerian and it's based in Africa. And I'll probably show you after.
I feel like I know what you're talking about. I just don't know the name.
Starts with a K.
I don't.
I'll find it after. But are you watching the new Lord of the Rings on Amazon?
Yeah,
Prime?
it was boring. It was so boring and so slow. I'm gonna try to go back into it. I'm gonna try to, but it's yeah. I've been much more into the Game of Thrones. God damn.
Oh yeah,
that shit.
House of the Dragons.
You see those fucking niggas on dragons? When I saw that shit, when they're in the general, the king and his son is there, they're like, all right, we gonna attack these niggas this way. And then you see them all fly. Oh no, you see the sun flying during the fire. I was like, niggas on dragons.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
And at least this is.
I got into Game of Thrones late. Like I watched. Don't hit me for this. I watched the 8th season.
Is that the last one?
The last season.
You watched that first?
Yeah.
I'm gonna hate you for that.
I watched it because when Game of Thrones started, everybody was giving it. I was like, and I watched the 8th season, and I was like, oh, this is good. So I went back.
What? You thought that was good? That was one of the worst things I've seen on TV.
Yeah. So I went back, and then I rewatched it with my wife, and I was like, this is a good show. Yeah,
season 1. So I heard about it, but then I was like, I kind of loafed on it for a little bit, and then I went to watch season 1. And then season 1, I was liking it. And then they killed the main character at the end. And I got so upset. I was like, I'm not watching this shit anymore. But then I came back, and then it's just
killing everybody.
Yeah, it's one of the best shows ever, if not the best show ever made.
You should check out C on Apple TV. It's fantasy. I would say it's fantasy.
What is it called? C?
Yeah,
like
C.
SEA?
SEE.
Oh, SEE. Oh,
like
okay.
to see. It's with Jason Momoa.
No, I see.
So
Aquaman.
It's based in a world where everybody died because of something that happened in the world, and only 2 million people survived, and everybody's blind. That
sounds like the thing with that movie, that meme where the guy's like, look at this, that sounds like that.
This is like, oh, they are. It's like Game of Thrones, where as soon as you fall in love with the camera, they dead the next episode.
I know this is rude, but I'm gonna check my phone real quick because it vibrated a few times.
No problem.
I want to make sure.
While you checking, we've gotten to the book a little bit. I want to get this book in my hands, man, because it's been too long. And if you terrorist another year and a half, then I'm gonna have to fire you, and I'm not reading anymore. We got into family. Let's talk work, man, because that's kind of like the main engine that's driving everything.
Work. Oh yeah, work. Work is work.
For you, it's just a check.
Work is work. Yeah, I'm not.
Let's talk about the suit, cause.
Okay. No, but I could talk a little. Oh, I guess I already said what I do, right?
Is it like
I don't want to get too deep into
now, or?
So what's happening with the suit? So everything's picking up. So history of the suit. We made the suit. Everything was fine and cool.
What kind of suit is it? People.
Oh yeah. So the suit is an exoskeleton suit. Kind of Iron Man-esque. I guess it's a weird way to put it, but I'm not trying to suck my own dick. But yeah, so it was a exoskeleton suit, kind of like Iron Man, had the backdoor system to walk into the suit and everything. But so we ended up getting a lot of money from the state and from the university, what kind of university and things like that, to make a higher version of the suit. Well, let me even go further back than that. So the suit was a suit for firefighters originally. So with the cooling system, the backdoor system to get inside, we threw on some weapons on there. Every finger was a taser, and a flamethrower, night vision. We had a good amount of stuff for it. We got a lot of money to develop. That's
when you said we, and maybe this is just me. I thought you designed it yourself.
Yeah. So no, so after I made the first 2 versions, that's when we started getting a lot of money. So I hired my engineering friends that I graduated with. So it was Chris and Ahmed mainly, and so that's the we. Okay, right. So everything was still out of my apartment. Things. So like
now it's the government. How did y'all get? Sorry, that's that. We're gonna get to that, but you initially designed this suit and started working on it from your apartment, like ordering parts and putting it together.
Yeah. So originally it was probably one of the poorest time of my life. This is when I was living in Queens Grant and so poor. But then we finally, what is it? Barbie finally got a job on campus, and I was working at Hollister. This is like the second year of college or some shit like that. So we had but then we got our tax returns. So tax returns, because we were students, got back like $1,000. So what year is this? Probably 2011, 2012, something like that. So yeah, like literally 10 years ago. And so I had the idea of either start writing my book or make this exoskeleton suit. Those are both were the 2 things. And I talked to one of my friends. His name's Anton, and I talked to Barbie too. And they was like, "Oh, you should do the suit because it's probably harder." So blah 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 blah. So we use Barbie's tax return money to buy me the first components I need to make the suit. So I make the suit. And it's really it was just a glorified, modified costume, to be honest. I was able to put in like a night vision system in the helmet. Everything ran off of a car battery. And it
must have been heavy.
Yeah, it was heavy. And not only was it heavy, the acid would leak on my back and burn me. And I had a taser system. And then, so I'm bringing that on campus. I'm like, "Hey, guys, look at what I made. This is fun, blah, blah." And they're like, "Oh, this is cool." One of my professors see it, Dr. Zhang, and he's like, "You can do something much better than this, right? If you want to." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, if you want to tell me how to do it." And he's like, "Well, you got to learn how to do these things." So he introduced me to he told me of the existence of 3D printers and of, introduced me into how to code with like Arduinos and shit. And so he's like, "Get your hands on a 3D printer." I was like, "Okay, let me find a 3D printer." So I look up what 3D printers are. This is before they were everywhere. So I go down to Salisbury and I'm just asking random people for 3D printers. I go to Walmart, ask random people there, different stores. I just say, "Do you know where I can find a 3D printer?" Until eventually somebody tells me that I can go to the local community college and they have something there. So there's a guy over there and he's, kind of an asshole because he doesn't like the school I go to. And he's like, "You can't use this unless you take classes here." And they're like, "All right, well, fuck that, you weirdo." And so eventually, oh yeah, okay. Oh my God, I forgot about this. So he denies me. While I'm walking out, his secretary, who's a black woman, she calls me over and she's like, "I heard that there's this thing down the street called hot desks where they're into, entrepreneurs like you who can kind of help you do some things, blah, blah, blah. You want me to introduce you to them?"
I wish I could show a picture of the suit. This is an older version of it.
Oh, sheesh. Yeah, that's the original. That's the Halo version.
Yeah, I wish I could. We're probably going to put it on the post, but...
Yeah. I'll send you. We can put pictures on Imager and then put the link in the description.
Right, if people can see. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, so there's this, so she's like, "Let me introduce you to these people." So I'm like, okay. I didn't think much of it. And then I email them, they email me, they let me go down there. And then I see the facility and they're like, "This can be really cool. We have a 3D printer." But the 3D printer only prints like 6x6 stuff. So like this is good enough, because you know when you're building something and you're fucking hungry, that's the difference between people who stay in school their whole lives and people who actually like they can make things, they can fucking go and fight, and they just if the only factor is energy, it's like I'm gonna fucking do it. So it can only build like 6x6 stuff. So for the second suit I made, I ended up designing and printing out, I don't even fucking know, like 300 different parts, printing it out and then super gluing it together, and everything about myself. And mind you, during this time, lucky for me, I was fortunate enough for my parents to pay for my tuition and all that type of shit. And what happened? So I was using the money from my meal plan to afford everything I was doing. So no meal plan, nothing, but it's fine. And who needs it? I'm not gonna die, right? I'm not gonna die. So putting everything together, I make the second version of the suit. That's the first time I do the backdoor system, but it's not hand gestured yet. Everything is still button activated. And so it was good enough for me to go into, they introduced me to these business classes, all these things they want me to take to try to get me ready for a competition. And then so I make this suit, I take these classes. I have this wonderful woman from the Small Business Development Center, the SBDC in Salisbury, where she's a ruthless woman, but she was so good at her shit. I don't think there's, if anybody who works there tells you have a decent business plan, you're done. You're good. Like they know their shit so well. And it's through the training I had with her specifically where I had a very good, I still use her stuff now for the new stuff I can talk about when I'm done this story. And then, so I go to this competition. I fucking crush it. I fucking crush this fucking thing. And you end up making a lot of money off of it. I don't remember if it was it 20 or 40,000? I don't remember. I remember at some point, she tells me that each component of the suit could be its own business. So because of that, I split the company into 3 different things where I do the suit, somebody does the cooling system, somebody does the battery. We all go in together. I get 20, they each get 10,000. And then that's the first $48,000 we made. And then it was really good. So I'm just like, all right, let me just hire all my friends because everybody got student loans, everybody just graduated, all that type of shit. And then so we make the next suit. We go again. We don't win as much money, but we're able to get a MIPS reward. We get the MIPS. MIPS is the Maryland Industrial Partnerships. We get TEDCO into it. We get MTech into it. And then everything's looking good. We get money from them. Everything's looking great because we made graphene supercapacitors. We can talk about graphene. That might be too technical. I'm afraid I'm getting like more boring as I go on, but this is the science aspect of everything. But graphene is like this new thing. It's going to take over the world maybe in the next 50 years, 20 years. Everything's going to be made out of it.
Tesla, not electric.
Tesla's going to probably use it. Well, it's like it's an atom thick layer of carbon essentially that can conduct electricity.
Is it public? Can I invest now before it gets public?
Yeah, you should invest in it right now. You absolutely should. There's a few companies that are trying to hire me off of the stuff because so what we did was graphene supercapacitors to make the suit, right? So the plates of the suit were going to be designed so that the charges is holding the plate, so you don't need a giant battery thing. But they do everything. Your clothes are going to be made out of this later on, and it's going to be so valuable that some people some things have been written about how we're going to be competing with trees for carbon because we're going to be pulling carbon out of the air to make graphene stuff, right? So that not only is that going to solve global warming, you're going to start risking global cooling because we're going to be competing with trees for. So quick fix, guys, folks. That problem's going to be solved specifically because of this, in my opinion, and people I've spoken to too, but different combinations. So anyways, we get the money, and then we go back to Maryland for some more money, and they're like, hey, there's not enough fires for you guys for us to keep giving you money for this. So we can't give you more money. So that's when I decided let me pivot to the military. But the military is a lot smarter than me and has a lot more money than I do. So I should probably get my PhD. And yeah, so that's why I went to grad school. So my entire PhD, my entire thesis, everything I'm doing is based off of stuff I could incorporate into the suit. Now that all of that is like kind of done, all of that is I'm gonna be starting I've started a little bit already. I've basically gotten the groups of people together in the military and in the different universities, from my original college and my current university, and getting everything together. So we're actually going to start going, balls deep last year with the new suit, but they didn't let go of COVID, so we couldn't go anywhere to talk to anybody about anything. But next year, that's when it's all going to go down. I think the Mark V is going to be out, where we will be able to test it in certain sites. We have everything lined up for that. Yeah. But you'll see. But yeah, the Mark V.
Who's the end product going to be for? Still for
military.
Fire? Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be military. Yeah. And
that's huge. That's when you quit your job.
I quit my job. I could quit my job when my book comes out.
That's crazy.
Or my podcast
when you start selling to the military, that's money.
Yeah. They have infinity money.
Yeah,
especially with how the world's going.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no. But that's a big thing that's next up, because everything wasn't opened up. I focus more on the whole podcast thing I'm doing now, because there wasn't much I can do. But now that everything is, everybody's kind of accepted that this is kind of over now.
Yeah.
So yeah, next year is going to be the big move for that.
Yeah.
Now there's a big question as to dividing my money up between advertising for my book or
the suit.
Now it seems like an obvious answer, but not really, because I want to have something completed. Because the issue I have now is I have a lot of things that are almost there, but nothing has actually, made me a millionaire yet. So I want to actually complete something. Yeah, if it fails or not, I don't give a shit. At least it's completed. It's out in the world. I can kind of move to all this other shit.
You got one thing that's out in the world right now is your podcast.
I'm not making money off of it, though.
How and why did you get into podcasting?
I've been trying to get into podcasts for a long time. I've been trying to get into podcasting since I started the suit 10 years ago.
Kind of like break down like day-to-day kind of thing. Was that the idea? Oh, just
originally the podcast was just going to be me analyzing things. So this is analyzing policies, analyzing political things, non-political things, all this stuff. Because there was a podcast. What made me want to start a podcast was a podcast called The Kind of Funny Podcast.
Contrary to popular belief, not Joe Rogan.
No, not Joe. I didn't know about Joe Rogan until like maybe 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, around COVID. And Chris is the one who introduced me to it. And I didn't even like it.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was a political. It was probably just the wrong episode, but I don't know, he was talking about AOC and shit. I was like, I don't want to hear anything. I thought it was like CNN. And then but what I wanted was The Kind of Funny Podcast, and it was Greg Miller, Colin Moriarty, all these guys. I used to work for IGN. They quit their jobs to start to kind of focus on the podcast, and I would listen to them essentially every day. And Colin Moriarty specifically was so intelligent about so many things. I was like, this is fucking. So I started doing research based off of things he would say, and opened my eyes to a lot of things about how everything kind of works. And they're just talking about video games. This is a video game podcast. I was like, oh, I want to start one. And then originally it was going to be me and Barbie. No, I think I had Barbie's little sister and Stephen Hawley's doing stuff, and I was kind of organizing everything in the background. But then it was me and Barbie's little sister, and then it didn't really pan out. And then it was just me trying to analyze it, but it was kind of boring. And I did publish them once, and then I took them all down. I was like, this is fucking boring. And then it's not until a few years later where I was just like, maybe it shouldn't be me analyzing things. It's kind of weird being that, talk about me. What the fuck? I'm not that interesting. Let me just talk to other people and just have a good back and forth. And then that was actually fun. The other ones felt like more work. This was actually fun because, you're just at your house with your niggas and you're just kind of talking shit. Yeah. And it's like, this is even like work. Now, the horrible part is editing, right? Because I edit it because I don't want my friends to get fired. But Yeah, that's the annoying part. But other than
You
that,
can pay somebody off Fiverr to edit.
maybe
Or workup was it? What's the workup?
that would make sense because they probably know
Yeah.
what is
And
acceptable.
they got like templates and all kind of
The
stuff.
problem with that is even then, I would still have to listen to it to make sure it's fine before I put it up.
Before put it
So
up, yeah.
I'm paying somebody maybe $5, but time wise, I'm still losing the time I would need for that.
Yeah.
So yeah. Also, I just like to control my environment.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And you know, like you said, just prioritize one thing, do it, and then once that's out of the way,
yeah.
get to
Set
the-
everything on fire. Set everything just.
Yeah,
Oh, you got a baby? I got a baby. I gotta do this. I gotta do this thing for this paper we're trying to publish. I gotta do this. I'm gonna lose my job. Fuck you. I'll find another way.
What's your favorite episode so far?
I don't know.
No pressure. You don't have to say mine.
No, yours was the best. Yeah. After your episode, you were just so masculine and sexy. I went to fuck my wife, and that's how we had the baby.
You be bro?
No.
That'd be crazy.
I think the baby was already born, right? I think so.
Yeah. It was already born. Yeah.
No. My favorite episode, I don't know. They're just
The good thing about it is
They're
you
just
talk
fun.
to you talk to like it's like people that you know. I mean, at least from the start, like people that you have a foundation with, and you talk to a host of different people. And me as a fan, I'm always like, dang, this person is into this now, or this person did do what now? And,
Yeah.
Oh, it's cool to catch
But I
up.
realized that everybody has a fucking story. Everybody has something to say. And I'm branching out a little bit more because there's this racist I'm trying to get on so bad to just be like, why are you racist?
Yeah.
Just to really like break down and kind of, because usually when somebody's racist, let's say you can do this by country. Racism is just not knowing the other group of people, right? That's entirely a thing. The guy who was able to destroy the KKK by befriending the leader of the KKK, he just became friends with them, and they talked, and they were like, "Oh, this is kind of stupid." They're just not used to things, so they just kind of go with the whole stereotypes and things like that. Same with Black Africans coming to America and having these prejudices towards Black Americans, right? It's just you just don't know, like there's a lack of understanding of what the fuck is happening.
Yeah.
So there's this racist dude I'm trying to get over.
Where's he? Is he? Where you find him on your Facebook?
No, he's in Rockville. He's in Rockville.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, he's close then. Get him on, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, why do you hate me?
That is cool. Yeah. What else we haven't talked about? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We talked about
a lot.
Things. Yeah. Well, how long have we been talking? Because Barbara's going to start yelling at me for being here too long. But I don't come back again.
He's coming back, Barbara.
Did she say something?
Nah, she's just commenting. She said, stop giving out kisses for free.
That's not for free. You deserve it.
I deserve it.
Yeah.
I deserve a kiss.
Look at that face.
Cute.
I give him a lot more.
No, don't. Please don't. Let's talk about people say that. We're so like, remember one time, back in the no homo phase, but I think society has moved a lot.
I still say no homo.
I mean,
and I still say retarded too. Like I'm gonna say,
people have their trigger words and that's fine or whatever. But I want to go back to like full circle moment now. Like how was it like with your mom? Because we've talked about your dad. He's part of you.
Oh, that's why you asked the question about what we can talk about. Oh, much better. Growing up, my relationship with her was horrible.
Especially now being married, having a wife, having a daughter.
Well, I would say much better now, just because it's still. You don't forget everything, right? There's things I was definitely not wrong about when I was younger, but now I could actually at least understand the motivation was that it was fear. Everything was driven by fear, because you're an African coming to America. Then my dad is out of the country 6 months out of the year, going to like these war countries. So at the same time, all you know about America is that the cops like to kill black people. And like all the black people are on drugs, and that fear was the main driving factor of everything. And I could accept that. So that's where that is. But it's still in me, in ways that, let's say, the entire motivation for my suit also just her not letting me be a regular kid growing up. when I finally had freedom, I exploded, but in a good way, right? I didn't become a fucking thought. Not that I had the looks for it, but I didn't become a whore. But it was more of the day I decided to do the suit. I was like, well, I wasn't allowed to do anything growing up, right? So might as well fucking do this and see what happens. That was the deciding thing. And then my mom was pictured in my mind as just like, you never let me do anything. I'm gonna fucking do this. Even all the hobbies I have now, whenever there's something that interests me a little bit, I'm just like, I'm gonna fucking do it. I'm gonna go all in because I never got the chance to do anything when I was growing up, and I missed out on. I think I missed out on a lot of things, but then you grow up and you're just like, I can do that shit now. Yeah, that's fine. Like people who's like, oh, my hobby is traveling. You can do that anytime. Yeah, you can travel whenever. Do it, especially around this age, but.
We don't have any kids.
It's not a hobby. It's something I'll travel with my kid. Like she's very easy. I told you we went to Cirque du Soleil. Easy fucking baby. But it's more expensive with a baby. But, yeah.
What's a paper? You mentioned you and your wife. You read a lot of papers. What's a paper that people should absolutely go read now and why? Like what's like a recent one? It's like whoa, this people should go check.
Oh gosh, I don't want this being pulled off of Facebook. Not Facebook, off of YouTube. The most recent thing I've read, this is maybe 2 weeks ago, that I really kind of went into. This is before my business trip. The amount of false positives given from the standard COVID tests and how it could be around 80%. Yeah. If we go into it, I don't know what YouTube's going to say about it, but there's several papers about how they made it too sensitive to the point where what they compared it to was, let's say you walk into a room trying to detect if just say you have a machine that goes into a room to see if there's a human inside the room, and then it finds like a strand of hair of a person and says, yes, there's somebody in the room. That level of sensitivity that they put into those things shouldn't count as a positive. And something like 80 to 90% of positives should have been negatives. But that's.
Are you vaxxed?
That's not so. Yeah, I'm vaxxed. Yeah, I'm double vaxxed. Everybody, I work for the government. I've been fucked. I've done everything. Was it 2 years? We were like 2 years into 2 weeks to stop the spread. Yeah, we did everything. Yeah, quarantined. Yeah, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I should probably understand more about how everything works than the criticisms. But
that's
a big statistic. Yeah,
that's huge. 80% is huge. But yeah, we can get into that off camera and everything.
Even 40% is huge.
Yeah,
80% is fucking crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah, and I could send you the files. I sent it to a few of my other scientific friends and things like that.
Yeah. What do you do for fun? You game?
Overwatch. But it's also very stressful. Yeah. I'm trying to get my team back together because I used to play with a group of people who all ended up being horrible people that I stopped talking to. You know them. We talked about them before.
What's the best thing about being a dad?
Just watching her learn. Yeah, watching her learn everything. Figure out. Well, not just that. Watching my wife be a mom is also incredible. That's also something that's just like, whoa, this is incredible. You see the real differences between how you operate compared to like your girl or something like that. And there's certain innate things she has that I don't even understand how you can do that. Like a good example is when the first time she got sick, she got like the flu or something, and then the baby was kind of weird and things like that. And I was like, oh, she's just tired, and she's like, no, she's sick. And then there's this one time specifically, she's like playing with like one of her blocks, and she just turns to us and she's just like, she does something like that. She's like, she's definitely sick, but I thought she was just tired because I thought I kind of maybe woke her up wrong or something like that. It's just like the instinct of this needs to happen like this because I say the kid's easy, but the kid's easy because the wife just is so good at it, right? And I know that even at my best, I can't do half the shit she does. Like that's clear. And you're not even gonna, I don't know, you don't love your wife as much as you do until you have a kid and you see her be a mother, just like, oh wow, that's crazy. But also,
Barbara's at home right now.
no, she's like,
her ovaries are popping for no
nah,
reason
she's like,
right
this
now.
N-word is lying. this monk cock. No, she doesn't use those words, folks.
That is funny. That's dope, man.
Nah.
Let people know where they can find the podcast and all that good stuff.
Yeah, you're trying to wrap it up, trying
Yeah,
to seal me. Oh no, I should go.
You remember Khadijah?
Yes.
Yeah, she has a. Oh shoot, can't say. I don't know. I hope she's not watching. Yeah.
No, it's fine. I get it. Yeah. I can't believe I did a live one. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And I didn't say anything like horrible, I don't think. Yeah. Because normally, especially if I'm hanging out with like people like you, I can, I can just, we should eat the babies, like type of shit. Like, I could go wild. It was like, maybe slavery was okay. No, just kidding.
Man,
Yeah.
you just triggered me because I didn't know about Jeffrey Dahmer, the serial killer guy.
I've heard a lot about him recently. I don't know why he's back in the news.
Because Netflix did a show.
Oh,
And I went to a party last night on a boat in Baltimore, and I just got sucked into reading about him, and I was just and I was terrified, dude.
Oh.
I was like scared, like this dude was a psychopath. So when you say, because he ate his victims.
Yeah, we can talk about the psychology of people like that before. Because so one of the things I studied with, my doctorate is in electrical engineering, but I've done a lot of things with the brain, right? But more kind of technical neuron synapse type of stuff. But kind of just going through that, you work with a lot of social scientists, and you work with a lot of psychologists and things like that, because it all kind of just goes in together. I've worked a lot with schizophrenia and autism and making devices for that, and that by itself could be its own podcast. Yeah, if you're schizophrenic, you probably want to smoke cigarettes. It does bring that down, but that's a different conversation. But what I will say, for my podcast, which I think I'm probably going to hit 400 subscribers by the end of this week.
Congrats.
Yeah. The first year I got like maybe 80 subscribers. The second year around 300. So it's slowly going up.
The thing with YouTube is just consistency. And if you can do lives, since it's a long form podcast.
Yeah.
If you can do, I think they lowered the standards now. Before it was 1,000 subscribers, then you can do live. But they lowered it now to 500 subscribers, I believe. Look it up in there. Just do like a quick Google search.
The issue is some of the shit we say on there is so wild. I don't even know if I want to do it live.
Now you probably can, but if you do live, the algorithm just favors it.
Really?
Yeah, it just favors it. So if you, especially being a long form podcast, and then you can. YouTube also has a built-in editor where you can go and chop the beginning, because the beginning you just messing around, so you get into it, or you can just leave that stuff in the end. And then you can download it and start doing your clips and stuff. Yeah.
Well, what I figured out about my channel is people like me talking about anime a lot. Yeah. Like a lot. Anime and Overwatch. They're like, because that's a different thing. I won't hold you, but yeah, I can cover it. But anyways, it's called the Badjo podcast. JPBADJO. It used to be the JPB podcast, but people that will look for it, they'll just be brought over to the Joe Budden podcast, which is JBP instead of JPB. Yeah. So I was like, fuck this guy. Let me just do mine. Yeah. So, but it's going. But yeah, and the book Chronicles of Confagao, Roots of a Very Old Tree. Hopefully next year we'll see how that goes, and if not, in a year or two, we'll be testing out the Badjo suit, Mark V. And
by then, baby will have a younger brother or younger sister.
Oh, yeah. I'm getting in there. Spreading my seed. Shucking it like a clam.
Barbara, I tried to tell you, him.
Shucking it like a clam.
I tried.
Yeah.
I'm happy for y'all, though, man.
Indeed. When are you going to have a kid?
Oh, yeah, soon, by God's grace. Soon.
Okay. Yeah. So when I leave, you're going to...
You're
gonna go in. You're gonna.
Yep. Get all the way in.
Yeah, nice. Good job.
I remember calling you off. Man, what do you?
I'll be on the phone I'll be in the room wearing a diaper and a cowboy hat. Stroke.
No, I mean after when the baby is here. What do you do with diapers? That's what I meant. I can handle the other part, but. The father part.
Just marry a good girl. You'll be fine.
Yeah. I think I could
marry a good girl and make a lot of money. and everybody's gonna be happy.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Man, listen, this has been fun. My ribs hurt, and like when you laugh so much that you like
It's just pulsating.
Yeah, this
was fun. I want to come back again.
Thank you. Yo, no, for sure. And we can I know Chris, he's on your podcast a few. He can come through too. And so Nicole Flynn was watching with Hazel Montez and Chris.
Oh shit! Montez was watching.
Yeah. I don't know if do I know Montez?
No, that's Chris's mom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, I hope I didn't say anything bad.
Does she know you talk like this?
Yeah. A good thing about me, I speak the same way everywhere. That makes things
you're real. Yeah.
Yeah. It's gotten to the point where whenever, let's say, I have a group of friends and there's a problem with something, they can be like, "Hey, JP, can you tell this further?" Like, because they know I can be like, "You're fucking stupid. What the fuck are you doing?" And they're like, "Oh yeah." So it's good to keep it consistent, I guess.
Genuine people. I appreciate genuine people. But man, this has been Stuck in the Middle podcast. Conversation with John Paul Badjo. Looking forward to a lot of stuff, man. The book, the suit, more podcast episodes, and more babies, and keep making your dad proud, man.
Yeah. Oh, that was a nice thing to say there.
Yeah, man.
Okay. Well,
I'm your host, Reflex. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Monsieur Ami.